Welcome to Journey with the Jays, the very last episode that it will be called Journey with the Jays, not the last episode of our network. Jake can explain that after I introduce us. We got JB, Jake, myself. Alex will be joining us shortly. Jake, do you want to explain a little bit why we won't be called Journey with the Jays anymore?
Yeah, simple. We talked about it as a team, and we have decided that as of next Tuesday, we will be no longer Journey with the Jays, but instead we will be going to be Sideline Sports. So we're going to change all our Instagram or our social medias. I will be sure to put that on all our socials. What our new stuff is going to be. I'm going to handles. We're not changing accounts, but it's just going to appear as a different name. So I'm going to have the name that's going to appear as. So when you see us from now on, you'll know what we are. It's still going to be the same content, same everything, same great debates. John's always going to be wrong as per usual. We all know the same drill, but it's just going to be under Sideline Sports from now on. So as of next week, it'll officially change. So next week, when you see it come out as Sideline Sports, that's still Journey with the Jays. That's still us. It's just our new name.
Just remind me that day that I go to the right site, I'm sure, Gary Bettman will be confused. Make sure we send a letter to the NHL.
I'm sure he's listening right now, and that's why he'll know it'll be changing. I'm sure he knows. He's always up to date on this stuff. You know that.
Look, the first person we got to make sure knows is Rob Manfred, because Rob Manfred runs the MLB. And speaking of the MLB, we had some interesting news drop today about the Hall of Fame. Now, Jake, you were talking a little bit earlier about the Hall of Fame. Can you talk to us a little bit about what happened with today's Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Hall of Fame ballots came back, and nobody was elected to the Hall of Fame. And John, I know you'll have plenty to say about this as our baseball guy, but I just want to start by saying, I'm not saying the other Hall of Fame ballots are perfect in terms of other leagues. Like the NFL, for example, is by no means perfect. However, what I will say is, in my personal opinion, I do prefer it, and here's why. The way to get to the Baseball Hall of Fame is very simple. You've got to get 75% of the votes from baseball writers and sports writers alike. You have to get the 75% vote threshold. If you break 75% or more, you get in. If you are under it, you don't get in. And after, I believe it's 10 years, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe after 10 years on the ballot, after your 10th year, if you don't get in, you get relegated basically to the senior writers. The senior ballot, I guess is what you can call it. I forget the exact
Veterans Committee.
There you go, Veterans Committee. Thank you. And that's for other players that didn't get through the regular process. And that's the problem with it for me. Why are we changing how they get in, first of all? And second of all, the fact of the matter is, why does it need to be 75%? Like other leagues, it's majority of votes come in, and let's say it's the top 8 players that are voted on get in. For me, that's what makes the most sense, I think, because we were just talking about it before the show. Now, there are a lot of people that don't think, for example, that Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds is top 3. But what bothers me mostly, and I'm going to turn it to you, John, in just a second after I want to just make this point. Manny Ramirez is on his 5th year on the ballot. Now, I think we can all agree that Barry Bonds has been considered a cheater, and there is a case to be made against him. Manny Ramirez has not been called a cheater, and there really isn't a case that Ramirez isn't a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer, and I can say that as a Yankees fan, not a Red Sox kind of guy, but he's a Hall of Famer, and I know that. There's no question that he is. I believe that in my heart of hearts he is. But he ranked 9th on the ballot this year, and the problem with that is he didn't even break 30%, but a guy like Barry Bonds almost, it's got more than double that at over 60%. Bonds is questionable. Ramirez is not. The problem with the ballot is you have to break a certain threshold, and it becomes harder for a guy like Ramirez, who's going to have to wait another year or two to actually get on the ballot and actually have a legitimate chance, as opposed to a guy like Bonds, who's been on there for all these years, and next year will be his last chance, unless he goes to the Veterans Committee, of course, to get it through this ballot. So the big problem is it limits chances for guys like Manny Ramirez who fall behind.
I want to give a shout out to my buddy. He giving us a little comment. Hey, what's up, Simmons? Thanks for joining us.
But it takes away from other guys, like Manny Ramirez because of the way it's set up. So it's not a perfect system. I know there's no way to make it necessarily perfect, but I'm just not a fan. So John, take it away. This is obviously your sport.
I mean, if you want me to eat up this whole topic, sure, I will. First of all, the baseball, the way they do their voting is just absurd. They put politics into it. They put your off the field stuff into it. They take that into consideration, what type of person you are, what you've done off the kind of like off the field. If you've had like incidents off the field, things like that. They take that kind of stuff into consideration. They don't just say, "Hey, what have you done on the field?" and that's it. No, they're kind of like they play judge, jury, and executioner. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of stupid how they do that because that shouldn't factor in to whether they're a Hall of Famer or not. Whatever they've done off the field really shouldn't factor into getting into the Hall of Fame.
John, sorry to interrupt you. What's your criteria of a Hall of Famer? What makes someone a Hall of Famer? Not their stats, but what should they be looking for to be considered a Hall of Famer to you?
A consistent player that was consistently great. Not just one big season, not just 50 home runs, and then that was their, you know what I mean, like a big MVP.
That was their crowning achievement, and then they never did that again.
Exactly. Yeah. It's consistently great. The Gold Glove, I think great defense is important, but DHs also get in, so that's a different story. But there's a lot of different criteria that you could go with. I think if you're a cheater, then you shouldn't get in. I don't think Pete Rose is a cheater. I think he should get in. What's that?
So did Pete Rose break the rules of baseball? Because you weren't allowed to gamble on baseball. So technically that would make him a cheater, right?
But we have gambling now. That's
right now.
Hold on.
We have gambling where they make millions of dollars.
Steroids were not against the rules of baseball. So anyone in the steroid era did not break the rules of baseball. Yes, they may have broken federal laws, but baseball laws are all we care about. So they're technically not cheaters.
He's got a point.
But Pete Rose did go against the laws of baseball by betting.
But the MLB, which I get, they're great. But now they're making billions off of the FanDuels and the DraftKings and things like that, and they're okay with that. But yet they're not going to let a guy in who bet on baseball, but yet they're making money off of betting on baseball.
Listen, it's simple.
It's critical.
They made how many millions of dollars thanks to the home run with McGuire and Sosa and Bonds. They made more money off of that than they do off of gambling.
Well, unfortunately, those guys, Bonds is going to get in eventually. Hopefully, it's after I die. Hopefully, it's after that, so I don't have to see it.
It's absurd that these guys aren't in. To be a Hall of Famer, you have to be one of the best players in your generation. Very simple.
Gentlemen, if I may, because, you're talking baseball, and that's not really my field of interest. But Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer long before he started using the cream and Balco and steroids.
Exactly.
He was a major hitter when he was in Pittsburgh, and he was a steal king. So if you take away the home runs that allegedly he hit clean or not clean, I really don't give a damn. He was a Hall of Famer before that.
100% right, Alex.
See, I think he went from looking like me to looking like, the Incredible Hulk. That's the thing. And he went almost overnight.
He was not the Incredible Hulk. As JB, I'm going to give him credit. He was the Incredible Barry Hulk. There's a big difference.
Well, he went from looking like me to, to looking like an Avenger. Went from me to Marvel Studios, So
here's my 2 cents on that whole situation. JB makes a great point. Bonds didn't break the rules of baseball. He broke other rules, but they weren't the rules of baseball itself, which is go ahead.
Ethically, he broke rules, but
right. But there weren't
ethics are different. But the rules of baseball, he technically didn't break.
But the way they vote
that he went against.
The way they vote in baseball is, any little blemish like that, they hold it against. They hold grudges when it comes to these votes.
That's what I was going to get to. Bonds didn't break any rules of baseball, but he's being punished outside of baseball. And what I mean by that, for his actions outside
the
of
unwritten rules of baseball, are holding him back, is what you're saying.
He's being judged based on his actions outside of baseball. And what I mean by that, he didn't break rules inside of baseball, technically. They were rules that existed outside of the sport itself. There were no rules in baseball that said this is illegal. it was frowned upon, but it was not illegal in the sport itself. And so that's what I mean. They're judging his character, his ethics, what he did that was not considered legal outside the sport, was not accepted outside the sport. But what he did in the sport itself was not illegal. And that's what I agree with what you were saying, John. What I don't like is that too, because I don't care if you are the worst human being on the planet. If you're a good player, you still deserve the credit to be in the Hall of Fame for being the player you were. I'm not saying people have to like you and say that they want you there, but if you're a great player, you're a great player, period, and you can't take that away from somebody. And then to what Alex said, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Jake, I hear you, and I actually agree with you, but I'm glad Kurt Schilling isn't in the Hall of Fame because you want to talk about the definition of a douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a personal preference.
We'll get into a couple of those guys that are in this class right now. But going to Barry, that's also another reason why he doesn't have the votes. He never got along with any of the media. I had Pedro Gomez on the program, and I asked him because he got to be with Barry the year of the home run chase. And, he went to Barry before it started. He tells the story. It's a great story. And, Barry could have done great things with that. He got a lot of love already from it. But had he, played it up with the media, and ESPN was giving him whatever he wanted, basically. Had he done something like that, he would have so much got his image and broadened it and helped himself where he didn't want to. He just has no interest in that, and that's fine. But he also had a horrible relationship with the media, and that hurts when it comes to Hall of Fame votes. Forget about the steroid thing for a second. I mean,
yeah,
you can't prove that he did, but we all see the transformation and whatever. It wasn't against the rules of baseball. I'm not concerned with it. Today it is. So a guy like Ryan Braun who got caught with PEDs, that to me is a completely different story because now it's on the books. You can't go and do it. You got caught. Him, Cano, these guys are true cheaters because now it's the rule and you're doing it. Where back in the 90s, early 2000s, it wasn't against the rule. So, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
And then you got guys like Schilling and Clemens. I mean, I'll never forget the Subway Series where Clemens took Piazza's shattered bat and threw it at him. And why Piazza had enough restraint not to go and pummel Clemens' head into the ground. And I'm a Yankee fan, and I never liked Clemens, but after that, I had no respect for him. You don't throw a bat at a guy. I mean, that could have killed Piazza to hit him in the head. And how the Mets didn't go after him and how nobody went after him. Piazza just, went on his way. I don't get it. I'm not one that says, oh, you got to have fights in games. I don't like to see that. You're there to play a game. But there's times you got to stand up for yourself. Someone took a weapon and threw it at him. After that, Clemens should have been suspended for months. And to me, guys like that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame because that was on the field to play.
One thing I will comment.
Why exactly isn't Andrew Jones in the Hall of Fame? Andrew Jones was a 300 hitter who hit over 400 home runs and was nothing but a model of consistency for the Atlanta Braves. Yet he didn't make the cut either.
I want to say two things really quickly. First of all, to go back to JB, I agree with all of that. That's where it's okay to judge character because that was within the confines of playing the game in his respective sport. And that's where I'm okay with it because that pertains to his career. That's something that follows his career from what he did on the field. And that I'm okay with because what Barry Bonds did, technically, I consider off the field because the drug usage was not on the field. He was not physically on the field doing it, is what I mean. I understand it affected his playing, people say, but my point is what he chose to do outside of the stadium, outside of his facility, is okay with me. I'm not saying that you have to agree with that, but that's the difference. What we're talking about is doing something so stupid and dangerous on the field, that's acceptable for me to judge character. And then the next thing is, to Alex, your point, why is he not? It's really simple. What I was talking about before the show, before you got on, I was saying why partially I don't love the way the system works is because, let's say you do the top 10 guys make the final cut, right? You have your top 10 final votes, and those are the guys that you have to vote on. And let's say 7 are going to get in the Hall of Fame this year, and the rest are going to fall short. I'm just making up numbers, right? because of the way the system is set up, a guy like Andrew Jones, who happens to fall at 11, but not entirely the point. The point is of what happens is people are worried about getting 75% to one player. That's what a lot would happen. It's that stupid 75%, because if it wasn't 75% and it was just, let's say, a majority vote, which is, let's just say 66%, that's 2/3, that's the majority in most things, right? A guy like Kurt Schilling is in the Hall of Fame now. And I'm not saying we have to agree with that or not, but it takes him off the list for the next time. And that's the problem with all of this. Barry Bonds, Kurt Schilling, they're going to stay on there. Guys like that will have to stay on there for, those guys that have been on there for 9 years now, because they have to reach a certain threshold like that, as opposed to having a different threshold, which is what most sports have. And the reason I guarantee you that those guys have been on there so long, they were doing the same thing that Jones is doing right now, waiting for the guys at the top to either move off the ballot or hit the threshold and then move off the ballot because they get in. And that's the problem with the way it's set up that I don't like, because you get guys, for me at least, Kurt Schilling with his 70%, Hall of Fame, done. If he's getting more than 2/3 of the vote, I don't care if you like him or not. To me, that's worthy of the Hall of Fame, because that's the way voting, generally speaking, works. Get 2/3 of the vote, you're good. That screws guys like Andrew Jones, which I think is not fair. It's not right, and it's part of the flaws, in my opinion, at least, of the way that the MLB, elects their Hall of Famers.
I don't know. I mean, they get 10 votes. A lot of guys don't use, and women don't use their 10 votes. And there's, as John said, a lot of different things. Why certain guys don't, or certain members don't vote for different people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at the history of the MLB Hall of Fame, the only one to ever get elected unanimously is Mariano Rivera. Just, over the last couple of years.
And that says something, that Derek Jeter wasn't unanimous either.
How is Jeter not a unanimous guy? And I could go through a list. I mean, I'm a Yankee fan, so of course, right off the top of my head, Jeter comes to mind. But it's not just Yankees. There's guys on other teams that you could say the same thing. How are these guys not unanimous Hall of Famers? And we could go through a list, I'm sure. Ernie Banks from the Cubs. And the list would go on and on. I could probably make a list of about 20 or 30 people. That how did they get in unanimously? So I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons why people vote the way they vote, but when it comes down to it, there's, to me, to be a Hall of Famer, you have to consistently be one of the top at your position, or on the field, or hitting, pitching, whatever. And Bonds is there. And how guys just decide not to vote for people for whatever reason, I don't get it. But it does say a lot about Mariano Rivera that he happened to be that one, of how well liked he was, that he got to be, the only guy to ever do it unanimously.
Yeah, and I also think that says a lot about the way the Hall of Fame system to get in the MLB is set up, though. I think that reflects on both, that he's the only player ever. I guarantee there are players that I'm not going to think of right this second, because I don't remember everybody's percentage on who got in the Hall of Fame. I'm not a computer like I wish I were. But I guarantee there are other guys that, I may not think of right this second that are easily worthy of, unanimous without a question. And I think that speaks to, what Mo did, but also it just speaks to the way the system is set up. So I can complain all day, but, I don't want to sound like a broken record. So, John, do we have anything else in the MLB, or do you have anything else to say?
JB had talked about it before the show, but Kurt Schilling asking to be taken off the ballot. What kind of – who do you think you are? There's guys that would just die to even get on the ballot, let alone get in, and this guy's asking to be taken off the ballot? Like, the nerve of this guy. Alex, what do you think about that? If you're there, Alex. Or JB. We'll go to JB. Alex might not be there. I can't see him.
Yeah, I don't get how he has the nerve to – first of all, it's an honor to even be on the ballot, because not everyone goes on the ballot. They don't just throw you on the ballot. There's criteria. And
unless you're Harold Baines.
The fact that you're there and you've still got a nice percentage of the vote. Oh, I'm not in. Take me off. You know what, guys? Listen, Sirius hasn't given me millions of dollars. I went off the show. Get out of here. Get over yourself. Who are you? You're Kurt Schilling. What did you do that was so spectacular that you think you belong in the Hall of Fame?
You put ketchup in your sock to make it look like you had a bloody sock.
He's a nobody. See, him and Clement should go start a business because they're both garbage.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's stupid because he should just be happy he's on there. You know what I mean? It's we were talking about with Alex with Andrew Jones, right? A guy that he would like to be on there, right? And even another guy that's on here is Andy Pettit. I mean, I just looked on the list again. Another phenomenal player, and not just because he happened to play for my Yankees. He was a great pitcher, and there's no question about that. He falls low on the list again. Why? Because other guys are on there. There are guys that would kill to get in the Hall of Fame and deserve it. Just be happy you're on the list, because that in and of itself, I think, is one of the highest honors a player can get. Obviously, the next highest honor would be getting in the Hall of Fame, but just to be nominated, I mean, that speaks volumes for a career. Just take it and accept it and appreciate it.
I disagree. Hank Aaron was a Hall of Famer, first ballot. Did he get in first ballot? No. But why? The politics of baseball.
Ninth time now. This is his 9th time. It's not Hank Aaron wouldn't have said that after. It's one thing if he says it after 1 or 2 times, but he's saying it after 9 times. There's a difference there. I will say that.
Fair enough.
He got 71.1%, so he's almost there.
Like next year, it's looking like he could next year.
You know what? I hope they take him off the list, and I hope he never makes it, because the Hall of Fame is not for crybabies. Really, just get over yourself, Kurt Schilling.
One more.
Gotcha.
I was going to say one more thing, just to not harp on the Hall of Fame too much, but baseball rejected the idea of a continued expansion for the playoffs. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they're not going with the expansion. They're scrapping that. They're just basically the COVID season they had, and they're okay with the expanded playoffs. I don't understand why you continue to live in the Stone Age. If you're the MLB, you have a chance to make more money. You have more playoff teams, more teams in the race, so more people are more interested in your sport. That's a dying sport. I love baseball, but you're not exactly attracting the young people. And by doing stuff like this, there's less teams. Look at the Marlins. Marlins probably wouldn't have had a chance had we not expanded the playoffs. Marlins got in. That fan base was excited. So there's a lot of fan bases that were really ecstatic to even have a chance to get into the playoffs, because there's only typically a few teams that get in on each side. And you know what I mean? Like, baseball's 162 games. Do we really want to see 4 teams or 6 teams? Like, expand it to like 8 on each side, because it's such a long season. These fans deserve to have a chance, at least get some hope. And I think it's stupid that baseball continues to live in the Stone Age by, going back to their old ways.
I was going to say the problem is they're an old-fashioned sport. They're stuck in their old ways. Before you said it, that's what I was thinking. And it's funny you said that, because that's exactly why it's happening. Not because, these people are well, I don't want to say that. I was going to say they're not stupid. That's not nice. But really what I get at is they're stuck in their old ways. Baseball has been the same way for, basically forever. I mean, more or less, it's been the same sport for a long time. And hopefully they wake up and smell the roses that things need to change. But things like that make me a little bit worried that they're not going to realize, hey, this sport is good, but it's dying. No matter how much we love it, we need to make a change, because we need to attract new viewers. We need to do things. And Rob Manfred, I hope you're listening, because you got to do something, buddy. I love baseball as much as the next guy. I know John does too, but this is a dying sport, and there is no question about it. Like, I don't like saying that, but it's not as popular as it once was.
What's that, Alex?
I don't miss baseball at all. Here's a funny fact. Football is America's pastime. Baseball hasn't been America's pastime for about 10 solid years now. And after football, there's basketball. And then there's the off season, then there's fantasy and a whole bunch of things to do in between. You had over 300 players bitch and complain about salaries during COVID when you practice social distancing in the damn field. It was about money. And trust me, citizens, civilians, they saw that. And they saw the little wannabe season that you had last year. And then you saw the Dodgers win an asterisk World Series. I'm not going to miss baseball. Baseball is its own worst enemy.
And they refuse, like JB's been saying for weeks, they refuse to show their stars, to advertise their stars. Like other sports do. NBA does it. NFL does it. They do a great job. And MLB just refuses to say, hey, look at Mike Trout. Look at Mike Trout. He's like the Patrick Mahomes of our sport. But yet we're not going to tell you, unless you're a baseball diehard, everybody knows who Mike Trout is, but you don't know who Mookie Betts or you don't know who Chris Davis, the athletics guy, is. You don't know a lot of these names that baseball purists don't typically know, that are great players, because the MLB they don't showcase anything. They just expect you to show up and know everything.
They're living in the 1950s and it's 2021. You got to get with the program. The NBA by far does the best marketing. The NFL's right there with them. There's no doubt in my mind that the NHL tries. They do their outdoor game. It's a much more niche sport, and they've had times where they've picked it up and done better, and there are times where they haven't. But they'll try and do some marketing, and they'll put their names out there, and you'll hear about guys. MLB, you got Trout, you got Tatis Jr., you got the guys up in Toronto, all those young guys. You got, the Yankees.
The list goes on. There's a lot of great guys.
There's a lot of great players that people don't know about.
Yeah.
It's just sad. But, let's talk about some exciting things that happened. How we have to watch Tom Brady in his 10th Super Bowl. Now, I know Alex is going to be there covering it. So, Alex, how is this possible that this guy who's like, all right, he's a little bit younger than me, but I don't know. With everybody else here, I feel kind of young. How is it that this guy is in his 40s? He's still going to Super Bowls. And now with a different team, different coach, like, is there any stopping him?
Y'all need to understand something. He was a backup's backup at the University of Michigan, and this is a California boy. His entire life when he was young, he was told, no, you're not good enough, you're not fast enough, you don't have a strong enough arm. Yet he led Michigan to a victory against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Then it comes to draft day. Now, he more than likely knew he wasn't getting drafted in the first round, but he watched anyway because he knew he was going to get drafted. Then the second and third round came. Nothing. Then the fourth round came. Then the fifth round came. And then finally, the New England Patriots, after passing up on him 7 times, select him with the 199th pick. All he wanted was a chance. You have to thank the New York Jets for creating Tom Brady. Because if that linebacker never knocks out Drew Bledsoe, we never see Tom Brady. And what does Tom Brady do? He makes everyone who passed on him pay. This man has a list of demands longer than any of us. And the one thing I do like about him, because trust me, believe me, I wasn't a fan for a long time, but you know what? He's grown on me. The one thing I can say, he keeps receipts. He's defeated more people than Montana, than Bradshaw, than Rodgers, than Breeze, or any other quarterback that you can name. Guys, funny stat. Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees each have one NFC championship. They've been in the league combined 35 years. Tom Brady has one NFC championship. He's been in the NFC 1 year. Now, you can say all you want about adding all these pieces that you didn't give to Jameis Winston, like Leonard Fournette and Tristan Wirfs and Rob Gronkowski and Joe Haig and Antonio Brown, but they were a 5th seed, and they were on the road and had to face each and every other conference champion. The NFC East, the NFC South, and the NFC North. He is the first man in history to have a Super Bowl at home. This will be his 10th Super Bowl. That's unprecedented.
That's one every 2 years,
this.
basically.
Because it really, really, really is this simple. You may not like the guy. Hell, you may hate the guy. You may despise Tom Brady. But I know what you will do. You're going to put some respect on that man's name.
Gotta say, he reminds me of this guy who played in Chicago, played some basketball. You know, no matter what you say, it's that mentality. Like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You know, and you can't, when the guy does that, you can't, listen, I dislike both of them, but I respect them with everything because they're going to go out there and they're going to give you everything they have. They may not always win, but you can't bet against them. And you're going to watch when they play, and you're going to root against them. And 9 out of 10 times, they're going to come out and win, you know. And if it wasn't for our Giants,
Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have already won. Guys, no team in NFL history has ever played a Super Bowl in their own backyard. Check. No quarterback has ever played in 10 Super Bowls. Check. Up until last year, 2 years ago, no player ever had more than 5 rings. He got his 6th with the Rams. 7th would put him over Montana. Check. Bro, regardless if Tampa wins or loses, the GOAT argument is done. There is no other GOAT. There's a baby GOAT. There's a GOAT coming. But as far as the GOAT of our generation, it's Tom Brady.
I mean, in all honesty, if it wasn't for an Eagles shootout and 2 miracle drives by the Giants, he could possibly be 9-0 right now in the Super Bowl. Just think
about it. He could be looking at number 10 right now. Yeah.
You know, so
if it wasn't for the Tom Brady Tuck rule, he may never have gotten to any Super Bowls.
Nah, I don't know about that.
Wow.
I think he would have still gotten Super Bowls other than that one time. I don't think that would have ruined his career.
When that happened? How old was Jake when that happened? Was he like 8? Jake's 8 years old. He doesn't know the Tom Brady Tuck rule. How that changed history. It changed the entire history of Tom Brady. I'm just saying. If we're going to play the what-if game, the Tom Brady Tuck rule could have changed this entire thing, and it may never have happened. Look, he had Bill Belichick. He had Adam Vinatieri saving his butt. You know, he's great defense saving him. The Bucks, great defense, and then their defense held 50 times and got away with it, and then they got held against, and it got called.
John.
Drew Brees fell apart, his noodle arm.
For everyone watching, we did not give John this to say before the show so we could just have great things to say about Brady. This is John on his own.
John,
he had no part of this.
I'm just saying, if we're going to play the what-if game, I could play that too.
John, I hate Tom Brady with my whole heart. I have hated him my entire life. I am a Giants fan, and as a Giants fan, it's almost automatic that you hate Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. As an NFL fan, it's almost
his camera off. He's fuming over
it's almost guaranteed you hate Tom Brady as an NFL fan, period. However, he is the greatest quarterback that anybody has ever seen, and you cannot possibly. No, it's not. And here's the thing that I want to point out. We talked about at the beginning of the season. Who needed who more? Brady need Belichick or Belichick need Brady? And what I just learned this season, and I learned that when the season ended, but I really learned that by watching him in these playoffs. Tom Brady is not the GOAT because of Bill Belichick. It's not to say he had nothing to do with it, but Tom Brady is just the quarterback, period. He is talented. He is smart. He is skilled. He's an incredible quarterback. And this is coming from someone that can't stand the thought of him, let alone watching him play. Can't stand him. But the truth of the matter is, he is the greatest quarterback anyone will ever see until possibly Mahomes when he's done with his career. But at this moment, there is no way you can tell me a better quarterback. I'm sorry, he's the best. And the truth is, he proved it this season. He didn't have his coach. Okay, everybody said, "Oh, well, Tom Brady without Bill Belichick, he might not be the same."
Yeah, he just went to a super team. That's all.
A super team?
The
Didn't
defense
know.
is top 10. Mike Evans,
What's
Antonio Brown, Chris
So
Godwin,
what?
Gronk, Cameron
Okay,
Brate,
hold
Ronald
on,
Jones,
hold
Leonard
on,
Fournette,
hold on.
Tristan Wirfs.
John, hold on.
I mean, come
Hold
on. Like, you're
John,
really saying
hold
he
on.
proved
You
it.
said this is a super team, so let me ask you.
I
So
mean,
a super team generally means that with the way
they
that
went
they're set
they
up.
went out and bought all these
Hold on.
pieces for him.
Hold on. If I put another quarterback in that system, do you believe they could do what Tom Brady did? Just yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think Daniel Jones could do what
not
Tom
hard.
Brady did?
That's
Hold on.
not hard.
Do you think Daniel Jones could have did what Tom Brady did?
Yeah.
Just yes or no?
Yeah. Any
You're
quarterback
nuts.
could have done that.
You're nuts.
With Brown,
You're nuts.
Godwin, Evans,
John.
Gronk. You could do that blindfolded. The
There is
running back,
no
the
way
offensive
in
line,
a
the
million
defense.
years. Daniel Jones is a turnover machine.
He
And I'm a
might
Giants
be,
fan.
but it doesn't
He is
take a
one of
lot.
the worst quarterbacks in the league, and I know it. He
That's
is
fine.
not good. But there is no shot on earth he could do what Tom Brady did. There's just no way. Okay. Nobody else could have taken Aaron Rodgers down this season like Tom Brady just did. Okay. And it's not all on Tom Brady.
Watson could have done it. I think Deshaun Watson, with that cast of characters, could have got the job done.
A lot of quarterbacks would have. A lot
No,
of great
not any
quarterbacks,
quarterback.
especially.
But it's not any
But
quarterback. Is my
Here's
point.
the point I think Jake is trying to make. He came and they added these pieces. They went 11-5, guys. They lost 2 games on the road early against the Saints and the Bears, and then they lost more games at home. They were road warriors. They're 8-2 on the road. How many people can say, hey, we're going to take our trip? I'm sorry, I said 8-2. Make that 9-2. They just beat Green Bay. How many people can go on the road? Because it's only happened 3 times. How many people can go on the road and beat all the other division champions to make a trip back to the Super Bowl?
I can name one other team I know that did it. I know one
Baltimore
other team that did it.
The Giants.
Yep,
And
exactly.
now you have the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Exactly.
Guys, trust me, it is easy to hate this man. I get it. But with all the hate, you got to throw a little respect.
Yeah, and John, I get what you're trying to say. Tom Brady is the best. I'm sorry. I don't like saying it, but I understand that you think anybody could have done it. Not anybody. A lot of quarterbacks could have done it, but not any quarterback. That's silly to say. And more importantly, he didn't go there and have a super team. He went there with a good team, and they continued to add more pieces. That's not Tom Brady just taking the easy road out. He went to a new team. He went
there with a really good roster, and then he demanded they add AB and Gronk and all these guys, and they did it. So, like,
AB
that doesn't.
Gronk did it too much. Either one of them.
Yeah, really. You're talking about the guys that did nothing.
These guys made a difference.
No,
There's more to making a difference than just stats. These guys make a difference. Having Gronk out there, you have to game plan for Gronk. Having AB out there, you have to game plan for AB. These guys make a difference.
All right, hold on. John, you want to talk about game plan?
And he's a great run blocker. Let's not forget that. A big part of their team.
AB didn't play this last weekend. What's your excuse for that?
I'm just saying in general, AB made a difference.
But you're making generalizations, and the problem is I have to agree with Alex. This is one of the hardest things to do. And not to mention going to Green Bay and winning, I think we can all agree, is one of the hardest places to win, especially when you have an incredible quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Brett Favre, when he was there, it was like going to hell. It was so difficult to win there, and everybody knew it. That's one of the when you have a great quarterback.
Mr. Shearer, I have a very disappointing stat that goes against your favor on this one. Up until Sunday, Aaron Rodgers was undefeated at home since 2013. That's 7 years, bro.
Not undefeated in the conference championship, though. 1-4 before this game.
1-4 before this game, and this was his first conference championship at home, which makes it even sweeter because we beat the Green Bay Packers at home.
And you realize
25 in the NFC Conference Championship game. So is the problem more Brady and a stacked team or Aaron Rodgers and his choke job?
And not only that, it's Tampa Bay. When has Tampa Bay ever got to a cold weather place in the playoffs and won? I mean, yeah,
Never.
this isn't.
I mean, when does
I
Tampa
can't
Bay
say
go to
never.
the playoffs?
I can't say never now. I'm sorry. Can't say never
Right.
now.
You know, my friend texted me Sunday during the game. He's like, "Oh, I bet Green Bay," and I'm like, first of all, it's Brady, so you don't do that. And then secondly, he goes, "But when does Tampa go win in the cold?" I said, "Look at who they have on the team. You got Brady and Gronk who play in New England. This isn't the same team. We spoke about it last week." And to not respect Brady, listen, it's clear. Me and Jake are on the same side of this. There's no love for Brady. As I've gotten older, I've learned to listen to what he says more. I have more of a like towards him. But as a competitor, I hate him. But nothing but respect. He's earned every ounce of respect I have when it comes to on the football field.
Unfortunately, I agree with JB. I may not like the guy, but I damn sure respect him.
Yeah, I agree with all three of you, all two of you. All three of us on the same page here. I may not like him, but I can't sit here and deny anything about him, that he's the greatest, that he's, the greatest, arguably the greatest competitor of all time, not just in his sport, but in general. I mean, there's so many things I can't deny about him. No matter how much I don't like him, I have to respect him because I've never seen another player in my lifetime, not just in football, just in sports, do the things that he does. I mean, he's like
left
magic.
The AFC East and came down to the dirty NFC South. Didn't win the division, went on the road, and became conference champions. Sorry, I'm in his corner. He won me over. I'm a believer.
And
now, speaking of being a believer, you were a believer in the Buffalo Bills last week. So talk to us a little bit about how you're feeling after your Bills fell apart. Well, I guess they never really showed up in this one.
I disagree with that comment. Wow.
It's okay.
No respect.
There's no respect deserved.
I wrote a story called 52 Pickup, hoping that Buffalo was going to meet Tampa Bay, which I did get right. And Buffalo got thunderstruck. They have no running game. They were missing Zach Moss. They didn't have an enforcer to stop or slow down Travis Kelce. Josh Allen takes some of the worst sacks I've ever seen before in my life. And they got outclassed because the secondary couldn't hold. Buffalo is 3 players away from dominating the division. They need a running game. They desperately need a running game. Singletary's not the answer, and I don't know if Moss can stay healthy. Number 2, you need a pass rush. If you give Patrick Mahomes time to just sit back in the pocket and pick you apart, guess what? He's going to pick you apart. And number 3, you guys are too young for G.I. Joe. Maybe not you, JB.
No, I remember G.I. Joe.
Don't be old, Wano Challenge. Thank you.
Don't go over my head there.
So do you remember the character Nemesis Enforcer?
I do not.
Okay, so you're too young for G.I. Joe.
I remember watching G.I. Joe as a kid.
The G.I. Joe movie had a cat called Nemesis Enforcer. His one and only job was to kick ass. All right? If somebody was in Serpentor's or Galaga's way, he was the man to kick ass. Buffalo needs an enforcer. So that way, when you got Travis Kelce's or Darren Waller's or some of these big bodies just catching passes across the middle and making your linebackers look silly, you give them some act right. To hell with the 15-yard penalty. It's going to make Travis Kelce and them big boys think twice about coming across the middle and bullying your linebackers. Buffalo needs an enforcer because Tyreek Hill's Tyreek Hill. He's the cheetah. When the cheetah gets loose, that's fine. But the cheetah didn't have 2 touchdowns against you. Travis Kelce, 13 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he only had almost 200 yards.
Yeah. Well, who hurt you more? Tyreek Hill, 9 catches and 172, or Travis Kelce with 13, 118 and 2 touchdowns?
Kelce kept breaking their backs with those first down catches. He just kept breaking their. That's what I said last week. I said they don't have anybody. No disrespect to Tremaine Edmonds, but they don't have anybody to really stop Travis Kelce. I mean, and who can stop Travis Kelce? Let's be honest.
Yeah, more importantly, though,
no, Buffalo will be just fine. They'll be just fine.
But did they lose the game more?
My dog Cole Beasley was breaking with the broken fibula.
Yep,
Playing with
I heard about that.
Since week 16.
I mean, that's respect to him.
Did Buffalo lose that game because of their defense or because of coaching and a couple of things I saw on offense that hurt them? One,
I think it was a little bit of both.
not rolling Allen out of the pocket when they were getting killed by the Kansas City pass rush. He was just getting.
Oh, Chris Jones was eating him alive.
It was like every play there was somebody back there. So the only way to stop that is to hurry up your offense and roll them out of the pocket. And secondly, you're playing Kansas City. You can't win by kicking field goals. You got the ball inside the 10 in the middle of the third quarter. You got to go for it. You want to get to the Super Bowl. You want to get to Tampa. You got to go. There's no I'm going to kick a field goal here. You're not winning.
I thought the same thing about Green Bay when they kicked field goals. I thought the same thing.
Yeah, that to me was disturbing.
A little bit.
Look, I blame Aaron Rodgers and I blame Matt LaFleur. I blame Aaron more than Matt LaFleur. Why? Matt LaFleur messed up by not going for it on fourth down. Fine. LaFleur deserves the blame for that, for thinking that his defense has stopped Tom Brady from getting the first down. Okay. Aaron, why didn't you run? Aaron, Tom Brady gave you 3 interceptions served to you on a silver platter, and you managed just to get 10 points out of 3?
Let's not forget, not to go away from the Bills game, but let's not forget earlier in the game when they kicked a field goal, third down. In the NFL, a little bit of separation is wide open. He had Devontae Adams right on the goal line, back of the end zone. Devontae Adams wide open. In the NFL, that was as wide open as your Devontae Adams wide open, and he missed him. Devontae Adams couldn't get his feet down. Not Adams' fault. Rodgers missed him completely. If he hits him right in the numbers, that's an easy touchdown, and he missed him to kick the field goal. That's on Rodgers. So, just saying, they had their chances.
I hate to get off topic, but I agree with both of you, actually. LaFleur, I don't agree with that call at all. I think that was beyond stupid. Just, you got to think about that. You got Tom Brady stopping him to get – I can understand if you're stopping him from getting a touchdown or maybe even stopping them from scoring at all. But first down? Are you nuts? I mean, whatever. I don't want to go too far into it because I know we want to talk about the Bills and we're going to get back to that in a second. But that was stupid. I also agree with you about Aaron Rodgers. He missed opportunities. He had chances to score, those first 3 downs, okay, on that drive that we're talking about right now, that in and of itself. He had chances to make plays, and he didn't. Okay, we talk about that. And so it goes both ways. And I know people are going to harp on the fact that, it's LaFleur for the call. And I can blame him, and I agree that it is his fault for that. However, got to look at the whole game. There were more chances. So combination of the both. And that's kind of what happened with the Bills, too.
Question for you guys. Hang on 1 second, John. Question for all of you. Bigger loser right now, Aaron Rodgers losing to Tom Brady at home, or Buffalo not really being in the game after they came out, up 9-0 first quarter. They had a chance to put the Chiefs away, the defending champions. Who's the bigger loser?
Rodgers.
Yeah, I agree with Rodgers. Because Rodgers, you can blame the Chiefs game on the whole team, and that hurts everybody. But Rodgers, that was a lot of stuff on him. And especially after having the season he had, there were some high expectations for him. I think a lot of people felt like Rodgers and the Packers could really beat Tom Brady. And I think a lot more people discounted the Bills from the beginning. And so when they lose, it's less surprising. And I'm not saying that the Bills should have been counted out, but also at the same time, I did say Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and he's likely going to win this game if he's playing. Rodgers, he's at home. A lot of people are saying Rodgers at home. That's a tough matchup. Tom Brady versus Rodgers. I like Rodgers better, especially with the season they had. And I'm one of those guys that said it. I think inevitably that hurts Rodgers a lot more, and it looks bad. And clearly he is not happy.
Buffalo was thunderstruck by 21 straight points. Couldn't run the football. Cole Beasley with a broken fibula and double press coverage on Diggs and an inexperienced quarterback in the AFC Championship game. Green Bay, 5-time NFC Championship game losers, at home, best record in the NFC, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2 of them being to Tampa Bay. He threw a pick to Tampa Bay, so half his interceptions went to Tampa Bay. Hesitant in the pocket, missed Devontae Adams multiple times, didn't get on his giddy-up in order to either A, get the touchdown, B, get close to the touchdown, or C, put yourself in a position so LaFleur can go for it on fourth down for the touchdown that you desperately need because you're down 8 points. in every way, shape, and form, it's Aaron Rodgers.
There's something I want to add to that. There's no way Aaron Rodgers does not like. How does Aaron Rodgers, I guess, not vouch for going for it on fourth down? You're Aaron Rodgers. Anything you say is going to happen. If you say, "Coach, we're going for it," it's going to happen. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's been there forever. If Aaron Rodgers says we're going for this on fourth down, but he said after the game he did not vouch for it. He let LaFleur decide.
Hold on. I want to address what you just said. That Rodgers gets what he wants. That is so beyond false.
No, but if Rodgers says we're going for it on fourth down, it's going to happen.
No. Rodgers does not get what he wants. I'm going to tell you really quickly why. Okay. Can you name the amount of first round picks that have been spent on wide receivers for Aaron Rodgers? Exactly. He hasn't gotten one. I'm just saying that Aaron Rodgers does not get what he wants all the time.
I'm just saying if you're Rodgers,
he's been begging for a receiver, hasn't gotten one. So I get it, and I'm not disagreeing.
They get a backup quarterback, though.
What?
They did get a backup quarterback, though.
Yeah, right. But
all draft aside, in the conference championship, you're the leader of the team. You're the best player of the team, one of the best players of all time, and you don't vouch down 8 knowing that a field goal is stupid and makes no sense just above 2 minutes. You don't vouch to your coach to go for it. You just sit back and let you guys kick the field goal? What? Like, how do you let that happen? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And another thing that I wanted to point out that nobody's knocking this guy. Aaron Jones hasn't showed up last year. He didn't show up this year. He didn't show up last week. He got hurt this week. 2 fumbles. I think that he sat out more because of the fumbles than the injury. That's just me. Because he ended up not playing and they said, oh, he had a chest injury. But Aaron Jones hasn't gotten any knock, and they're a run-first team. I know Aaron Rodgers threw 48 touchdowns, but their identity is to run the ball. That was their identity last year. That's kind of what they tried to establish this year. And Aaron Jones is going to be a free agent. He's not getting knocked for any of this. And he coughed it up twice. A big fumble that they lost early in the game because of him. I disagree
with you. He showed up last year. He had a breakout year last year.
But I'm saying playoffs. It's 2 years in a row in the playoffs that he's kind of went by the wayside, not really, when they needed him most, he kind of went by the wayside. 2 years in a row in the playoffs is what I'm saying. And this year he didn't show up at all. He had about one great game throughout the year, and that was about it. So where's Aaron Jones? I mean, they were turned into Jamal Williams and Dylan more than this guy. And this guy's supposed to be your franchise back? This guy we're supposed to say is one of the best running backs?
A.J. Dillon. Don't sleep on A.J. Dillon. That man is
I'm just saying. Aaron Jones is supposed to be – he wants to be touted as one of the best. He wants to be paid this offseason. Well, 2 years in a row, you didn't really show up in the playoffs. So how about you show up before, you go and be a free agent and get paid?
Hold on.
Just saying. Nobody's knocking this guy for that.
Hold on. Do you know how many times they run the ball with Aaron Jones? 6 times.
He got hurt. He fumbled twice. When you fumble twice and get hurt.
You're talking about how many – hold on. You're talking about how many times they ran with the other guys. Okay, Aaron Jones ran 6 times. You know how many times the other guys ran? A combined total of 10. They didn't run the ball. They didn't run the ball.
They got down, 28-10?
That's not the point.
Because when Aaron Jones
closer, you're going to talk about, they've got to run. They didn't run the ball. Aaron Jones ran 6 times.
It's hard when your running back's fumbling the ball away.
Because you can't run the ball against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Exactly.
Funny little stat. Last year, Tampa Bay Buccaneers were number 1 against the run with Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. We were middle of the pack until later on in the season when we were 5th against the run. Guess who played Sunday that hadn't been there since week 5? Vita Vea. How many rushing yards did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers give up against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday? 67. He only got so many touches because they couldn't run the ball.
Because he called the ball.
I want to put one more thing out there, John. John, you say he didn't show up this season in the playoffs. Really? The game against the Rams, he rushed 14 times for 99 yards and a touchdown. That's an average of over 7 yards a carry.
Like, has Aaron Jones really been dynamic this year?
Hold on. Time it. You didn't say he had to carry them. You said he didn't show up.
Their identity is to run the ball. Their identity is to run the ball, and they've trusted Jamal Williams, trusted Dylan
They didn't
more
trust
than this
anybody.
guy.
He ran 10 times with other guys. To say they trusted him would imply that they ran, 15, 20 times between
If
those
you have
guys.
Zeke Elliott, if you have Christian McCaffrey, guess what? If you're in the playoffs, they're running the ball.
Don't you dare go there, because you didn't watch any
time.
Dallas this year if you're going to say that. Because Dallas did not run Zeke.
You know what I'm saying?
This year.
These guys are supposed to be elite. These elite running backs, say Saquon Barkley, whoever you want to throw out that's elite. These guys are getting the carries 99% of the time. It's not going to be split between two other guys, you and two other guys. No. There's something going on with Aaron Jones.
Please take Zeke out of that whole comment, because McCarthy did not run Zeke like that this year. So
I'm just saying Aaron Jones has not shown up for them this year. And I wonder where he's at, and nobody's knocking this guy when he's supposed to be the identity of their team. They're a run-first team, and he's not shown up.
Yeah, I don't think
he's not the identity of the team, first of all.
He looked bad against Tampa Bay.
Aaron Rodgers, the identity of that team. You ask anybody that knows football, who is the first person to think of the Green Bay Packers on their current roster? Aaron Rodgers. No one thinks Aaron Jones first. But hold on. But he's the face of the franchise. He is the franchise, really. He's been the franchise for years. That's the face of the team. There's nothing else you can say. Aaron Jones does not carry the team. Aaron Rodgers.
I think Green Bay needs to come to the realization that they've wasted away Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers' career by A, not protecting them, B, not supplying them with weapons, and C, making ignorant and stupid decisions. This isn't the first time we've seen this in the Brett Favre-Aaron Rodgers era, where you had home field advantage, you had the mismatch, and you still don't come out on top. Now, Brett Favre, unlike Aaron Rodgers, at least been to 2 Super Bowls. How is Aaron Rodgers supposed to be so damn good, but he's only got 1 Super Bowl ring and 1 Super Bowl appearance? Now, I'm not going to say he's trash. That would be a lie, and that would be condescending. But to say that he's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks would just be a damn lie. I mean, Russell Wilson's been to more Super Bowls. Bro, Colin Kaepernick has been to the same amount of Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes, in year 4, has been to more Super Bowls. Hell, in year 4, Patrick Mahomes has been to more AFC Championship games at home.
Technically year 3, because year 1 he didn't even play. Technically this is his 3rd year. He's been to 2.
That's semantics, but whatever.
You know what I mean? And Rodgers can't get to multiple.
All right, so can we please stop fluffing these quarterbacks and being this regular season cheerleader? Like, oh, did you see that pass? Oh, did you see his discount double check? Oh, did you see the way he commanded the huddle? Let's stop falling in love with these regular season quarterbacks and judge them off the criteria of what they do in the postseason. This is why Brady gets so much hate. People want to blame Belichick. People want to blame the system. People want to blame the calls, and there were a couple of calls, and people want to blame the circumstances. But the bastard keeps getting back.
Listen, there's something about a will to win and the desire to get there. And, like I said earlier, Jordan, Brady has the same thing. Rodgers, no, you don't go 1-4, 1-5 in championship games and say you have that desire to win.
And the only win you had was against Caleb Haney.
That's your legacy.
Jay Cutler couldn't get off the damn bicycle. And by the way, that 1 championship victory, Lovie Smith let the Green Bay Packers in.
If Cutler stays in that game, the Bears probably win that game.
That's what I'm saying. It's like his legacy was built off of Lovie Smith showing compassion to a division rival. Because we could have smoked them, got rid of them, and then they're not even in the playoff picture. They came in as a 6th seed. And as a 6th seed, they did what they needed to do. They beat the necessary teams, and they beat the Chicago Bears with a heartless and cowardless Jay Cutler. And then ran into a Pittsburgh Steelers squad that looked a little bit old and long in the tooth.
And I'll give Rodgers his credit for the throws he made in that Super Bowl. I'll give him his credit because he made some damn good throws in those windows like Greg Jennings and guys like that. I'll give him his credit to that. But other than that, I mean, he hasn't really statistically he has, but like you said, he really hasn't accomplished anything else when it comes to winning. 1-5 is pretty rough.
You know that next year, Aaron Rodgers went 15-1 and lost at home to Eli Manning and the Super Bowl 8-8 New York Giants. Okay, so let's stop blowing this smoke about how good Aaron Rodgers is. Let's stop.
Like somebody said in our little chat today, Eli Manning's the guy that looks like his favorite color is elephant.
Exactly.
That's the one thing I will say about all of this is that you look at you compared him to Brett Favre, right? But you look at the times Brett Favre won the championship game, and I'm not trying to discredit anything, but this needs to be said because this is interesting to look at. Okay, the 2 games that Brett Favre won, his defense held very, very strongly. They let up 13 points against the Carolina Panthers and then 10 against the 49ers. Okay, and I'm not saying that is on Brett Favre. Obviously, his defense was good. But when you look at Aaron Rodgers in some of his games, okay, he obviously beat the Bears. They held him to 14. That whatever. We're skipping that because I don't care about that. But you look at the games he lost, because I want to talk about the games he lost, right? Look at the games Aaron Rodgers lost. Okay, to Seattle, they let up 28 points, and more importantly, the Seahawks were down 19-7 in that game with a little bit more than 5 minutes to come left in the game. And guess what? Is it Aaron Rodgers' fault his defense led up to that point? No, it's Aaron Rodgers, nothing to do with that. Okay, Atlanta Falcons, they let up 44 points in that one. 44. Okay. Just this last year, Green Bay loses 37-20. Aaron Rodgers has no impact on his team letting up 37 points. That's, you know what I mean? And then you look at this last week, and there were mistakes on both him and the coaching and the defense. There were mistakes all over the place. So what I'm trying to say is this. I'm not trying to save Aaron Rodgers' skin because he's made mistakes, and I think some of this still falls on him, especially this last game. I think I made it pretty clear. Part of the blame is absolutely on Rodgers. But comparing him, you just happened to say Brett Favre. So I'm just using him as the example, of course, because I'm not comparing every quarterback because I don't have the time for that. But you look at Brett Favre in the championship games, just the championship games that he's won, okay, his defense played really well, and then he scored a lot of points. Then you look at the games he lost. Okay, 95, Cowboys scored 38 on him. 2007 is really the standout year. The Giants win in overtime. That's the standout year to me. That is a little bit odd because, they let up 23 and they only scored 20. So I think that partially falls.
The year before that was Michael Vick. Michael Vick took a dome team in the Atlanta Falcons up to Green Bay and that ass.
Done what nobody ever does.
So that's the point. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just talking about championships games. But the point of what I'm getting at is both of them lost when their defense, for the most part, with the exception of the one game for Favre against the Giants, but you look at the defense in the games they won and they lost, and you can say, well, the defense didn't hold up for either of them in the games that they lost in the championship games, and then the games that they did win in the championship games, their defense held and their offense scored points. So I'm not saying to take anything away from either one of them, but you have to put that in perspective. Why did Brett Favre have a better record? Well, part of it is because his defense was better in those championship games. They held the other team to low scoring points, and Favre did his job, and he did well. You look what happened to Rodgers this last year, for an example. His offense scores points. His defense lets a lot. I understand part of it still falls on Rodgers, but you see what I'm saying? He loses games, but his defense is to blame for some of it. Not all of it, but for some of it, it's not on him. It's his defense playing badly.
If you're going to go back to that Falcons game, make sure you have the context because that was a lot of Aaron Rodgers and his offense going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. You put your defense in bad positions by going 3 and out consistently. And then they ended up down, I believe, 28-0 at the beginning of that game, basically. And then the game was over. Atlanta came out and walked all over them. So, I mean, yeah, I know the defense gives up the points, but when you start a game and you're 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, well, your defense is going to kind of fall apart a little bit because you're not really giving them anything. I remember watching that game. Aaron Rodgers didn't do anything to help his team out in that game. So I know there's context behind some of those, and I get what you're saying. Your defense can't give up those points, but same time, Rodgers didn't exactly do his part. When I see that kind of score, it's like, okay, well, so Rodgers really didn't do anything.
I think the NFC North played the NFC South that year, and Green Bay beat them in the regular season.
Yes, they did.
Chicago beat Atlanta Falcons. in the regular season, and then all of a sudden you get blown out in the Georgia Dome. You should be ashamed of yourself.
And it
You
wasn't
know
even
they're
close.
choke artists.
And it wasn't even
know they're
close.
choke artists because they had a 28-3 lead against the New England Patriots. Yet we all know how that goes.
They look like the same team in that Falcons game as they did last year against the Niners in the conference championship. That's the same team they look like.
See, again, it goes down to, who was that quarterback that was down 28-3? What's his legacy? And what's that guy at Green Bay that lost on Sunday? What's his legacy? That's what it comes down to. And you want to, talking a little basketball, I brought up Jordan to Brady. Rodgers kind of reminds me a little bit of LeBron, where he brings these teams that aren't stellar to the conference championships, and can't get it done. Where LeBron, he's won a few, but, everyone always, when they do the Jordan to him comparison, Jordan's 6-0, LeBron's 4 and whatever.
Wait. All right, I'm a Chicago native, so let me kill this noise right now.
Go ahead.
Michael, Kobe, LeBron.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm Michael all the way, but the argument is LeBron's championship record.
Okay, LeBron didn't go to college, which means he entered the NBA earlier. So when you play an additional 280 plus games, hell, I hope you pass Michael Jordan on his scoring title and all these other statistical categories. Do you think LeBron would have made it in Jordan's era? Answer me honestly. Do you think he would have been the star he is now in Jordan's era?
I don't think. I think if he bitched like he does now, I think he never, ever, ever would have made it in that era.
I want to see him go down low against Charles Oakley or, Bill Laimbeer.
And get hit in the face and just have to suck it up or get in a fight.
Yeah, that's what I want to see, And LeBron's a big guy, but
he is.
But
you can be big, but you can also be soft.
The argument people make is the championship argument. I think Jordan is just better. He just had that will to win that we talk about. Not that LeBron doesn't have it.
6-0 is still better than 4-6. 6-0 is still better than 4-6. You've been there more times. Congratulations. You have more participation trophies. And the 4, we have to respect. 6-0 means every time he went, he left as a winner. Okay? There's still no comparison. Yes, LeBron's Hall of Fame. Congratulations. We can't argue that. Whoop-de-woo. Here's your respect. Michael, Kobe, LeBron.
And that's not even counting if Jordan didn't take off for baseball, if he didn't retire, and then he came back to the NBA. All those things where he took all that time off to do other things. If he just stayed in the NBA and played, hell, he could have had more than 6, a lot more than 6. But it was kind of like he was just like, 6 is good enough,
Listen, sometimes things happen,
Since we're talking about basketball, can I do a shameless pitch? The sip-off. The sip-off with Megan Price. She was doing a Kobe memorial celebration today for the sip-off. Facebook and I think Instagram. JB, you got something in the works in regards to the NBA, do you not?
Definitely. Hopefully it's going to start up next week. Like the NFL carousel, we're going to have an NBA version that's going to start. We have John that's on there. You're going to be with us, Alex. Jake's going to be helping out. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of different coverage, a lot of great people. We have a former NBA coach, some people that are on the radio for ESPN, some other media members. So it should be very interesting. Definitely follow along, and you'll get to see all the teams covered.
Now, to be completely fair, this is JB's baby. This is JB's baby. For some odd reason, he asked me to be the host, but this is JB's baby. I'm the NFL carousel. He's the NBA carousel. I got to give credit where credit is due.
2 great shows, though. I'm telling you, it's going to be a great way to get your information and follow your NBA team, and then the NFL season next year. Make sure you follow that as well.
And both of them have John, so you get all the craziness.
At least you cover the Ravens in the NFL. I don't know, the Heat.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make it. Oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
Me and John are gonna be at each other's necks because I
look forward to that. Ooh,
Those
I
who
look
don't
forward to
know,
that.
I do a show called The Magic Perspective, and I'm a reporter for the Orlando Magic. And every time the Heat are in town, trust me, I know it and I hear it. Because there's a certain reporter that me and him don't get along, and he's got to be the loudest voice in the room. And I'm like, damn, he's louder than me.
I hope the Heat and Magic play in the playoffs. I really do. Oh man, that would be so much fun. Woo, I would love to debate you. Magic Heat, I would love that.
Oh, the playoffs are going to be fun with it because the long series. So you'll get to have hopefully, a debate and then a second debate when the series is going on. So it'll be even more
John's
intense.
just looking forward to crushing me. That's why he's saying that. He's looking forward to crushing
Hey, look, my Heat got to get healthy, man. They're really struggling with this. All this. I guess everybody's struggling with all this COVID stuff, and whew, this is crazy.
Well, speaking of
the Magic.
Florida,
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to bring
Magic.
it back. All you, Alex.
The Magic picked up a victory against the Charlotte Hornets last night, 117-108. Cole Anthony busted out with 21 points. Nikola Vucevic had 28 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. No, I don't have a paper in front of me. Evan Fournier had 14 points, while Aaron Gordon had 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. The bench contributed, I believe, 35 points, but the starters shot 15 of 25 from the three-point line. Anytime your starters complete 60%, that leads to good things.
Yeah, I mean, and they have a lot of good pieces in Orlando. It's just a matter of putting it together and getting healthy and playing well. I mean, they're a fun team.
They are a fun team, but they need a star. When Markelle Fultz went down and their rookie Cole Anthony is now doing starter minutes, they don't have a star to come off of the bench and help out Terrence Ross or the other cast of characters. For some odd reason, they like focusing on some of the young talent and not other young talent. Chuma Kiki, get back into the mix. He took a year off. He had to heal from his ACL tear when he was drafted out of Auburn. And then he has an ankle injury early in the season. Mo Bamba, what the hell's going on? Why do we get you out of Texas if you're not going to play, bro? I need some of that production because Vucevic needs help down low. Guys, can we please get a backup forward for Aaron Gordon? And Kim Burke is doing an excellent job. He's become more of an offensive player, but he's the enforcer down low. He's the guy getting rebounds and defending. We need more scoring. Plain and simple, period.
Yeah, hopefully they can do maybe at the trade deadline before that make a move and bolster their lineup. But getting back to South Florida, we got the Super Bowl coming up in a week and a half. You got Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, playing the
unless
first
you're
Super
John,
Bowl,
he thinks otherwise.
playing the first Super Bowl ever at home against Patrick Mahomes, the best young quarterback in the NFL right now, who's got his team to 3 straight home AFC championship games, something never done. And Brady was in the AFC his whole time until this year. Who's going to win right now? What do you guys think?
I was going to say, you want to save that for next week? We'll kind of tease this right now. Say, you know what? We're not gonna, what do you think? I think we save it for next week.
Do we have this kind of time? Is that this ain't a short debate? This ain't a short debate.
I agree. That's why
you guys don't have strong feelings. That's what that tells me. You guys got to study this week.
I don't need to study, but you know where I'm going to be at next week, gentlemen. So I'll be unable to join you next week unless, of course, I can find a quiet corner and join you for Journey with the Jays. This is all I'll say. Everybody counted out Tampa Bay and was rooting against Tampa Bay this season. People didn't like the fact that they were playing a Washington football team without a quarterback. The whole world counted them out against the New Orleans Saints, who the Saints busted their butt twice in the regular season. And then nobody gave Tampa any credit against the frozen tundra, Aaron Rodgers, and the Green Bay Packers. I hope and pray everyone here picks the Kansas City Chiefs so that way we can keep this doubt going, because apparently it's good mojo.
I'm saying nothing. I'm leaving for next week. I will address what you said. Even if you can't make it on the show, You know you'll be covering the Super Bowl. You'll have a lot going on. But I'm reserving what I want to say till next week because John made a good point. This is not a quick debate. This is a long-winded conversation, and I think it's best we save it for next week when we have a lot of time to talk about this. And one more reminder for next week, since we're talking about next week. Next week, again, I said at the beginning of the show, I remind everybody, this was the last episode as Journey with the Jays. The show is not going anywhere. We are keeping the show. It's still going to be all of us. Alex is going to join us when he's available. Nothing's changing. Content will be the same. But a reminder, like I said, we are going to be changing the name of the show.
Name and the logo.
Name and the logo, everything. As of starting next Tuesday, I'll be putting on our socials, and I'll remind you guys throughout the week. Next week, we'll be starting and calling ourselves Sideline Sports from here on out. That will be us. So when you see that, that's still the same Journey with the Jays content you've been following from, since the beginning. It's still going to be us. It's still going to be everything great. Just a reminder, it will be Sideline Sports from now on. So when you see that, that's us.
Don't worry, John will still have the same takes he has now, and we will all go off on him the same way. I promise you. If that changes, you guys can vote me out.
Gentlemen, I hope you don't mind if I submit some material and some video to you guys next week. Although this is fun and I enjoy it, this is still a job. And I figure if I'm going to be in the field and I'm going to be collecting this data, I might as well share it.
We would love it.
We would welcome that.
Happy to share all of it. Alex, we are so excited for you to get to cover the Super Bowl. And honestly,
I'm very happy for you.
Stay safe and just honestly, just enjoy yourself out there. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk during the week, but I want to say it now while we're all here. Just stay safe, enjoy yourself, and whatever content you get, send our way. I know we'll be happy to put it out on our socials, put it on, if it fits in the show, we'll put it in the show wherever you want it, wherever we can get it. We're going to put it out there for sure.
Without a doubt, yeah.
I'm a rookie. I suck at this whole media game. I don't know how to play it, and, I can't write and I can't report. So I'll try my best to not let you guys down.
I don't think it'll be any concern, Alex. I think we're in good hands.
So, all right. I think that's it, guys, unless there's anything else.
No. I think that's about it. We got a lot of good stuff for you guys next week.
One last thing. Sorry. Charlotte, Orlando, there was history made. Not one but two female referees officiated the entire game, and they did an excellent job. Women belong in sports. Sisters are doing it for themselves. I think we need to expand our horizons. Sarah Turner is going to be the first female official in the Super Bowl. Times are changing, guys. Times are changing. I'm not going to go too deep because I don't want anybody to steal stuff from me because I know how that feels.
No, we wouldn't want that to happen.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that.
Who would do that?
I don't know. People without integrity. But what I will say is that ladies belong. And we need to open our minds and open our hearts to something that doesn't quite look or sound like we do.
Not a doubt.
I agree.
Because
maybe we don't look or sound like they do. How about that?
Listen, anyone can coach or referee a basketball game, a football game. It's just a matter of knowing the rules, knowing the plays.
It doesn't matter your skin color, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter. Like,
doesn't matter anything.
You're good at the job, you're good at the job.
Exactly. It's times we start looking at things differently. And it comes from everybody. We all have to just do a better job at having an open perspective on things. But that's just my opinion.
Anytime I see a woman succeed, in the media field, I'm very happy for them because I just see so many posts by a lot of women that say about how they have to go through just so much, whether it's to get where they're going or stupid comments on Twitter or whatever from idiots, saying dumb things about how they shouldn't be there or something stupid like that. Like, I'm always super excited for any woman that is able to succeed, or anybody that's in the minority when it comes to whatever field they're trying to accomplish. You shouldn't have those barriers. If you're good at what you do and you have a drive, then you should be able to get that job.
Listen, a simple point I always use when I talk to people. Everybody has different things that they're better at, and that's okay. That's what makes the world so great. You can learn something from everybody. You're not dumb because you don't know what I know. maybe you have to learn from me that thing, but I'm sure there's something you can teach me if I just sit there and listen to you. If I have an open mind. We all have different expertise, and there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you more intelligent, less intelligent. And, doesn't matter race, religion, gender, everyone has different talents. And that's what makes the world so great. If we were all the same, it would be so boring. If John said the same things I did this whole show.
Imagine
that
all
won't happen. Don't worry, that won't happen.
I couldn't imagine being all like John. That would be a world full
that would be a fan. I'm just gonna say that would be the only scenario where it would be great. Where if everybody thought like I did, that'd be the only way that I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
We'd all be a little bit smarter.
But so for the last time, as Journey with the Jays, Alex, where can everybody find you?
Okay, you can find me at ALXFLMNG, Alex Fleming on Twitter, no vowels. The Sports Arena, my own page, Fantasy and Flavors, the Florida Sun Review, Central Florida's oldest black living newspaper. There's a reason for that. And it's a football world. We just live in it. John Turner has blessed me with showing some beautiful pictures and articulating my articles. Also, you can find me on WUFO Sports, and pretty soon you'll be able to find me on Onyx News. It's a subsidiary of BET, and apparently they like the work that I put in, and they want me on their network. Last but not least, I want you to check out footballworld.com. I have this new joint called Leader of Men. I hope I don't hit somebody upside the head with it, but I think it's a good read, and people need to understand how NFL players and coaches see things.
John, where can they find you?
You can obviously find me here. Find me on NBA Carousel. You want to look out for that starting, would you say, JB, next week, next Thursday?
Hopefully next week.
NFL Carousel next year. Fantastic show run by Alex. Well, NFL Carousel's next year, maybe next week. Who knows? Depending on how busy he is. But Blue Hawks 13 on Twitter. You can find me there. That's about it. Oh, you can find me on my blog, Day One Sports Blog. Just search for that, on Wix.com, WIX.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. Be sure to check me out this week, especially, and check all of us out, especially myself, JP, and John, because I know Alex, you're going to be really busy. So specifically the three of us, because any news about the show, our new Twitter handle, our new Instagram, it's going to be the same account. I just want everybody to know that it will be the same account. We will just be changing the name of it, but we're going to tell you where you can find us. So instead of our Twitter being Journey with the Three, it's going to be a new handle, same account. We're going to be making sure to put that on our personal socials so you guys know where to find our content. So please be sure to check me out on Twitter at Jake_Malik. And also anything else I ever do, any other work I ever have, it's always on there. JB?
So JB_ the program on Twitter. The program this week, Monday, we had Scott Farrell on. Definitely
amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And really great when, a legendary guy in sports says that he's a fan of your work and your shows. That was quite an honor. This Thursday, minor league pitcher Tommy Shirley will be on. Definitely check that out. Hear his story, how he's trying to get back to AAA and to the majors. So that'll be on Thursday. And the next week, we're going to try to have some football before the Super Bowl, Monday or Thursday. But that's been Journey with the Jays. Next week, it'll be Sideline Sports. And, the NBA Carousel maybe start next week. So definitely look out for that as well. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Everybody have a good one.